This happened in 2013, and this girl says she was dating a guy who was very religious. She says that he confided in her one of his biggest fears, and that was brujeria. He was basically terrified of brujeria and all that. Everything was fine with them until one day a kid came to their college and joined their friend group, and this guy practiced santeria. She says that the mere presence of this guy was very mysterious and eerie, and she could tell that her boyfriend drew concern and was almost terrified of this guy. She said that with time, the relationship with her and the guy that practiced santeria became very, very close, to the point where they would share secrets and they would just confide in each other with things that you would never go around telling anybody else. They basically became very, very close friends. She admits that after a while, the relationship between her and her boyfriend wasn't doing very well, so they broke up. However, after their breakup, she discovered that she was actually pregnant. Even though her and her ex-boyfriend had broken up, she says that he took the news very well, and he was very civil and even gave her some options of baby names. So time has passed, and she admits that the farther and farther she would get with her pregnancy, she started to realize that weird things were happening around her. She says that night after night around 3 a.m. she would feel the weirdest sensation of being terrified, and she would almost wake up from her sleep by somebody pulling her hair. She would also hear things from the bedroom next to her. She could hear things falling and being thrown, and whenever she would go and check, everything would be in its place. She almost felt like something was really messing with her. She remembers one night where she was in between awake and asleep, and she started to hear a very strange sound. She says that it almost sounded like something dragging itself near her bedroom, almost like it was clawing its way to her. She admits that the sounds were so toned down, almost like if something was trying to not wake her up. However, she was already awake at that point, and she said that she got the craziest chill down her spine. In that moment is when she heard the craziest voice. It was a voice that was just out of this world.
I think she heard us. I think she's awake. Shh.
In that moment, she says she felt this cold sensation in her belly, and she could feel how tense her stomach was and how cold it was turning. She says that she was terrified and she was almost panicking, but she tried to remain calm because, again, she was pregnant and she was just thinking about the safety of her baby and how she didn't want anything bad to happen to it. She said she took a deep breath and mustered the courage to run to her mom's room and just stay there for the night. The very next day, she went to her grandmother's house and she explained to her everything that had been happening to her at nighttime, but more specifically what happened to her that night before. Her grandmother was very concerned and convinced to take her to her friend who was a curandera. The curandera told her that she needed to do a limpia because she could tell that two men were trying to do harm on her baby. She doesn't understand why, but instantly two people came to her mind: the guy that was practicing santeria and her ex-boyfriend. During the limpia, the words that the lady was saying just hit her like a ton of bricks, because who she was describing was the guy and her ex, and the fact that they were trying to do harm to the baby. As they were doing the limpia, she started to feel better and better. Once the cleansing ended, she said that she felt like everything went back to normal. The very next day, almost like magic, her belly grew drastically, and she just felt better. It was almost as if her baby was finally growing, which is crazy. 3 weeks after that, she gave birth to a very healthy baby. Sadly, almost like confirmation that it was these two men, she had not heard a word from any of them. But she also knew that she might not hear from them because of what the curandera did. She sent everything bad that they wished on her back to them. I honestly never mess with brujeria, but I'm a big firm believer that if you do bad to people, that shit will come back to you, as it should. If you guys want to listen to this story in Spanish, it's coming from Podcast Paranormal, or Podcast Paranormal, because it is in Spanish. But what do you guys think?